Alright, dickheads, welcome back to practicing challenge 52. Athoro is my god, that's my that's my title, right? So yeah, welcome back, get your pen, get your paper, draw along, right? Who am I? I'm Viggy. I've been drawing for 3 years and almost 7 months now, right? The fundamentals are 90% of my practice, and I aim to prove with this channel, I just catalog every single bit of my practice in order to prove anybody can draw. And we all have greatness within us. Oh, so deep, greatness. Very, very deep inside of us. Some more than others. Me, the deepest of them all. Right? Only 2 thrusts as well. Anyways, really, nonsensical. Doesn't really make sense. And inappropriate jokes aside, right? Get your fucking pen, get your paper, draw along. Please give me your attention. Keep me on the background, right? But yeah, Athoro's Challenge 52 is essentially, it's 52 weeks, right, in 1 year. 52 weeks in 1 year. Each week is a fundamental concept, right? I think we start with simple shapes, boxes, cylinders, then manipulations over the course of the weeks. I personally do not fucking think it takes a week to learn any of these. I think it takes months to just start to internalize a vast, like, the majority of these, right? In order, right? Not all together, but like, you know, months to really get boxes down, months to really get cylinders down. At least that's what it took for me. It took me hundreds of hours just to get boxes and cylinders down. 600, in fact, right? So I think the 52 weeks is just something, it's just a good way to get the community to be like, all right, let me fucking start working. But this is less so me explicitly doing challenge 52 and more so just a way for me to practice fun with forms, right? Like this is, I'm still calling it challenge 52. I'm fucking all over the place. Also, I'm quitting caffeine, so please excuse me if I'm more incoherent than ever, right? And I didn't want to draw today at all, bro. I did not want to draw today whatsoever, but I'm here, so if I can do it, you can do it. Because it's been fucking, the day started at 1 for me, 1 p.m. because I've been sleeping so much because of this lack of caffeine, right? Which is good. Like, I'm really glad that I'm getting my rest, proper REM sleep, right? But also, I'm already thinking in terms of like a silhouette, what I can draw, right? And I am really going to try to just enjoy, kind of like play around, have fun, the whole fun with forms thing that I mentioned. But I'm still giving Athoro, of course, credit because he is the one who came up with Challenge 52, of course, right? And the whole point is I'm still gonna be using a lot of the concepts that he teaches to actually to like create these shapes, because the whole thing is I'm just trying to create quote unquote interesting shapes, right? Which I don't really know what any of that means, but that's why we're gonna find out. We're going to fuck around and find out in a good way, right? And while I'm drawing this, I'm thinking. I'm still like really trying to actively think. I'm trying to actively zoom out, right? I'm really trying to make sense of all of this, right? And by zoom out, I've found my process is to keep thinking about the overall box, right? So that's what I'm trying to do, right? That's genuinely what I'm trying to do to the best of my ability, right? And it is very fun, very, very, very fun, right? And you might be wondering, like, what is he thinking about, right? Like, what is he actually thinking about? And the answer is, I'm just trying to think about whatever. I'm just calculating. I'm just constantly calculating, right? So this is jutting out this way and then moving up. So here is projecting outward and then moving down. So I actually should have made this go a little bit lower, right? So again, I'm learning a lot just through these constant mistakes that I make all the time, right? All the time. And I'm trying to do this while I zoom out, of course, and while I try to make sure my lines are clean as well, and none of that exists. My lines are not clean, and I am not doing this as well as I want to be, right? And that's okay. Like this, actually, I fucked up as well, because this should have been particularly jutting out like this, right? We should have been seeing some of this bottom plane, but I fucked that up too, and that's fine, right? So that is currently, I'm just trying to, think about, and this is multiple rounding, right? This is the plane being projected outwards and then enlarged. Like this plane being projected outwards and then enlarged. This is a subtraction, so I'm just constantly thinking like, okay, what manipulations can be done, right? What actual manipulations can be done? And I'm just trying to really think about what makes a good shape, right? And the answer to that, I don't know. I want to be very clear. I don't have the answer to that. Dude, it's so good. Like, this is the fucking hilarious part about practice, is like you don't want to do it the entire day, and then the second you start it, you're like, what the fuck what was I so worried about, right? Because I'm here now and I'm practicing, right? So it's nice to be here. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. You know, it's just nice to be here, nice to practice. I'm just trying to, again, not lose the manipulation that I've been making. I'm trying to think it through. I still don't understand what I've been doing here, but let's see. Okay, this is gonna be something like this, I guess. Right? Is that accurate? Because I'm basically what I did is, this is like, I did another multiple rounding on the multiple rounding where I made a jut out, curve along a plane, right? Curve along a corner like this, and curve along that, and then go out still, right? And then like follow the perspective still, right? So is that accurate? Who knows? But this is why I'm calling it fun with forms and not be fucking perfect and then bemoan the fact that you're not perfect, right? Because I'm still trying to understand like what it would look like from the opposite end. Here, like down here, like what does that actually look like? Well, if it goes down here, and then it's also being curved along this plane, we also have to ensure that it's following the perspective. There's quite a few things happening, and this might be a bit confusing, right? I mean, it's confusing me, but all you need to know, if you're trying to figure out what I'm doing, is like he projected, first he took this plane, right, this manipulated plane, projected it outwards, right, in an angular fashion, and then he projected it outwards again, but this time, like if this is curved just in terms of like an angle, where it's like this point, I curved it out, and it's projected outwards and then enlarged, then it's projected outwards and enlarged again, but this time the manipulation in of itself, like the curvature is something that has been changed, because this is a curved form, right? And now you might be wondering, well, what's he gonna make out of this? The answer is no fucking idea. He has no idea what he's gonna do with any of this, right? And that's the beauty of it all, is just no idea, right? But let's actually end this here, right? Because this makes me think, hey, maybe this will be a cool looking shape, right? Maybe. That already looks kind of hard surface-esque, right? Nothing too impressive, but it does look relatively, and we'll curve this a little bit here as well, right? Let's see, and then we will, I think, curve it like that. Does that make sense? No, I don't think so. I'm really struggling a lot to anything that's like the opposite spectrum. I think people in general struggle to figure that out. What the fuck? Figure that out, right? It's, fucking. This is what happens when you put a drug inside your body that's supposed to give you energy, but actually doesn't give you energy. It just blocks your adenosine receptors, right? Fucks your sleep, and just gives you a temporary boosted stimulation, which then requires another reuptake, right? i.e. caffeine. So I'm genuinely just trying to zoom out and think to the best of my ability on how I can approach this, right? And now I'm thinking like, okay, well, I've already created this shape. This is actually starting to look pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, right? And this is purely just me being like, what if I project it out this way? What if I project it out that way, right? And I don't even think I've done this that well, TBH famalamo, but now the next question is, how, like, again, silhouette, right? Like, what is the overall silhouette that I'm thinking of here? Well, I'm trying to do what I implemented last time, or like what I said I would try to implement, which is always be thinking about the perspective, right? So this larger box, and then just being like, okay, what kind of internal modifications and sculptings are occurring within this larger box, right? If I were to actually take a step and slow down, you notice that this is not aligned here, and I made this end a bit too short. Like this thing right here should have ended way further down, right? It should have been something like this, right? And then this is the one that should have been stopping right around there, right? And this I ended up, it's too far apart. Like it should have, the edge of this bottom one should have stopped right here. So actually what we can do is do something like this to make it seem like it's more even. See, that seems a lot more even. And even then, that's not that good, because this is still slightly diverging than this, in terms of like the planes themselves, right? Because this is technically all within the same plane, right? So really cool stuff, right? And I don't even think I multiple rounded the bottom part right either, because if we think about the projection, right, I went this way and I went up and went slightly to the left. Here I went this way, down, and I went slightly to the right. So the projection is actually inaccurate too. And this is all arbitrary. When I say this way and that way, just know that like, oh, one unit that I'm projecting towards like this direction and then that direction and then maybe slightly this direction, such that the angle's like this compared to this edge of the plane, right? That is all arbitrary, because I'm just saying this, that, and this, and all that bullshit. But what that means is like this relative amount and this relative amount, which is basically the same, and then this is like a third of that relative amount, right? And that takes a lot of brain energy in the beginning, just to think about the fact that you like to maintain. It's all about your own internal consistent representation, right? So your own internal consistent representation will have its own internal fucking I guess process to come about to it. So now the question is like, what do we do here? Right, what the fuck do we do here? Because I could do something like where I bring this out, and I'm trying to follow the design language of things I see online, right? Where they sort of create like a small subtraction here, and then they bring this out again, and then they jut it out, and then there's another small subtraction. Subtraction just means cut out, by the way, right? And it's just following the contour of what I've laid out here, right? Not accurately, but actually initially it wasn't. And then let's see, maybe this can also have its own jut out, like so, right? Something like that. Like that's the other end. What else do I see? What else do we see in... I'm just trying to think. And I was also fucking like shit in my throat, right? Little gluck, gluck, gluck. But now the question is, like, apart from what I did here, right? What is a nice silhouette, right? I'm thinking, okay, is it something cylindrical, like half of an ellipse, right? Is there something that adjusts down here and then goes down here and then diagonally here, right? And while I'm doing this, I'm really trying to zoom out of and think about just an entire large box that this is all encompassed in, right? And then just like reverse engineering, and I'm not doing this well, by the way, like I'm really not doing this well, but I'm trying to figure it out is the main point, right? So I'm gonna rest my brain, and then I encourage you to do so as well, and then we'll get back to it. We'll get back to it. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I mean, dude, fucking spent the entire day meandering, watching a bunch of fucking random trash isekai anime, right? Which I half started a couple, didn't watch halfway through. I'm like, these are fucking shit. What a surprise! And now I'm just tired. I'm like, what am I doing? Let's just draw. Took a massive shit. So there you go. Now you're all hashtag Viggy caught up, right? That's I'm turning anything like any adjective, any statement. Just if you put a hashtag and a Viggy over it, it's a Viggy famming thing. I don't know, bro. This entire like my entire channel brand is just fucking garbage. It's all gone to shit. Stay hydrated, homies, especially if you're quitting caffeine. God damn it. But yeah, if I'm not explaining myself well, just know the underlying thing of what I'm trying to say is I am making manipulations on forms. I'm trying to figure out a nice silhouette. I'm trying to see how these forms can connect and how they can be manipulated. Like the forms themselves that are connecting can be manipulated. The connection itself can have manipulations involved, right? Really trying to grind my brain on the logic of how they connect, right? So know that at the very least. Like whatever I may be saying, which can and will be nonsensical, because again, I genuinely can't think right now, bro. Like it's all I can do to just barely visualize when I'm visualizing, you know. So I'm doing something new, which is I'm trying to incorporate play into my ideations, right? Like literally I'm trying to incorporate kind of the concept of play. I don't know how else to describe it, and I guess I can describe play as just not that Jesus that's what it would be described as. No, but I would describe play as figuring things out, right? But being open and curious to figuring things out, right? So right now, but the thing is, like, I'm still thinking quite a bit. So right now, I'm trying, and the thing is, like, I am much more rigid, most definitely you could say, like, I have more rigidity in my let's see, I'm trying to think right here, in my fundamentals practice, right? And of course I do, because I've been practicing very strict, rigid-esque fundamentals, right? Not rigid in a way that confines me, but rigid in a way that builds my spatial reasoning. And now I use these Challenge 52 practice, essentially, right? Like the sole concept for myself to really break out of that while still thinking. Like right there, I wasn't thinking that much, so you'll see my lines really suffered, right? But I am trying to break out of what is occurring here, right? And here I'm trying to think, like, how can this be connected? Like, what kind of clasp can I use to connect these, right? And do I even need to use a clasp? Maybe I can use something cylindrical instead. So maybe we can do something like this, right? Like, and these are just simple, they're not simple, sorry. These are simple to me, but these are essentially the simple explanation I can give you, but it is very, very, very fucking difficult. Took me hundreds of hours to get here, is that I am using what I consider to be simple forms, right? And now you see, like, I created 2 cutout cylinders here. Now I'm thinking, well, what's a way that this could read clearly, right? What's a way that this could read, because I'm still trying to think about the box, right? What's a way that I could connect these in a clearer manner? And perhaps the clearer way to connect these, perhaps, and this could be wrong, I could try adding another cylinder, right? I could try, and it works out because I obviously didn't do much detail on the other side of this thing either, right? Let's see, and then we get the other side. And then I'm still trying to think about the overall box, of course, right? Everything has to be in the same perspective, otherwise it doesn't exist, right? Not accurately at the very least, right? So what can I do here, right? What can I do here? Well, maybe this can actually be a cylinder that connects this right here. And this is great because it also teaches me to have cleaner line work. And as you can see, I fucking botched that horribly, but it does teach me to have cleaner line work, or at least makes me try to think about having cleaner line work, right? And yeah, I'm just trying to think about like how can this connect, right? How can this all genuinely connect? And let's see, because another thing I've noticed from the hard surface designs I look at is that they'll have extremely like just large pockets of empty space, white space, right? Which is why I'm purposefully keeping the surface of these just empty, and then dense pockets, like a concentrated region or two or three, but like all trying to, you know, within their own design abilities and from what I could garner. Jesus Christ, bro, all this fucking water. It is spaced out, so it's basically multiple pockets spaced out, and then inside those pockets, whether it be like specifically joints or hinges or whatever the fuck, right? There's details that is like heavily consolidated, right? And that, what I'm considering that detail to be is just, not just, but it is these tiny little like manipulations, right? What I'm technically is trying to make is like hard surface manipulations, right? Which is, you know, a box that's cut out with a cylinder attached to it. That's another box that's cut out, like all this shit, right? It doesn't really make sense, but it is an attempt to abide by the things I'm noticing right now, which is mainly silhouette, white space, buzzwords. I'm sure 100% buzzwords, right? But just in general, trying to think about the overall like, what is the shape? What is the shape? I guess that's the best thing I can say, right? And let's see. We could even create another one here, right? And then I've noticed a lot of this where they'll add another, I guess, outline, and then there'll be these little gratings that's attached to it, right? And now the question is, okay, well, where do we go from here? Right, where do we go from here? I could attach this, and then I could create another cylinder shape, right? That is essentially confirming that, like a little bolt. But now it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Because you created this attachment. Good job, right? Congratulations, you created an attachment. But where does this shape go from here, right? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? What kind of silhouette are we making? Well, first and foremost, I want to try and create more detail. Like I really want to push this ability, and this way, like it's really gonna push my own design sense, right? So I'm trying to think of something perhaps complex that could be done, right? Most definitely complex, right? I do want complexity, not just for the sake of complexity, but to practice visualizing the silhouette of something complex, right? And right now I'm thinking some sort of hinge system here would be nice, right? But what purpose, what function? Again, like function is a huge another question. My brain's really struggling. I want to be very clear. My brain is under not extreme, but a decently high amount of cognitive load, right? So, and I am constantly thinking about the overall larger box that's going in this perspective, right? Like the larger box. I'm trying to think about it. Am I doing it successfully? Middling, right? But I am trying to think about it. And let's see, perhaps something like, I'm trying to think, maybe I can add some sort of grading definition, right? I do want to have this be like a thick, robust hinge, right? So we are trying to see what can be done. This is obviously a diagonal. Should I have another diagonal here? Would that be a good silhouette? That I don't know. So if we think about this, we think about the diagonal that I've imbued here. And by the way, what I'm saying is like, I'm thinking about the side plane for this box, right? And then this diagonal is basically a diagonal that hits the middle, top of the middle plane, like top of the middle center of the side plane. So now the other side would be something like that, right? So if I were to like round this, because I'm thinking of rounding this edge, right? So again, rounding this edge alongside, right? This is the edge. I'm rounding it alongside, right? I'm trying to think exactly how much space should this, how large should this rounding be? How much space should I give this rounding, right? How much should this have white space, or should I have a lot of random little fucking cutout details here as well, right? These are the decisions I'm trying to make right now, as well as trying to imbue function onto this, which is what comes down to like, okay, well, this is clearly like, if I am going to do a rounded shape, right? And it is going in this perspective, obviously, and will I create that other diagonal, right? Like that goes this way, goes that way, right? That goes this way. Or will I have it go all the way out? That's the thing of like with design and ideating and all that shit. It's like there's a million things you could do, right? I hope you're drawing along. I hope you're practicing your own random shapes, designs, fun with forms. Like we're trying to have fun, and I am having fun. It's not that we're trying to have fun, but we're trying to be playful, right? But that is difficult for me. That's a different process. It's like play, again, as I defined it, is curiosity, trying to figure it out. You know, still having a process, still thinking it through, still experimenting, but at the same time, like I'm not trying to put pressure, obviously, on myself to get this down perfectly either, right? Like that is not the goal. Like if perfection was the goal, then I fucking failed, right? So that is not the goal per se, but let's see. Maybe actually I could do something like this, right? Oh, maybe I could. Okay, so I'm trying to think right now, and this is. I'm just thinking, what if I have some sort of, I guess, jutting out shape like so. I already fucked it up because the other side doesn't look as proper. I know that. I'll just have to pretend like it is part of it, and I did do it intentionally. Right? And then now this is where I'm thinking, like, this is where things could get a little fun, right? Where I'm thinking about a sphere or a cylinder in here. I know I interchange sphere and cylinder quite a bit, which is wrong. I want to say, like, I know that's wrong. Like, that's not good. I'm not trying to be inaccurate at all in terms of my usage, but I am a piece of shit, so I am being inaccurate. You'll have to fucking deal with it. Right? Now I'm thinking, like, okay, this could actually be something that's cut inwards, right? Like genuinely, and I am really trying to think about the overall perspective of this, right? And let's see, could be cut inward. I probably should have made this a little bit longer because I didn't. There you go. Cut inward, and maybe we could, there you go, make it like the top and the bottom are fucking retarded and stupidly shaped, right? And maybe I could also have it so we have something where it's also something is jutting inside of it, right? And what else could we do? Well, I could also make it so this genuinely is something that is it's concave, right? Not convex. That doesn't look that good. It could have been better. It could have definitely been better, right? But let's see, if this is this far away, this can be roughly. I'm thinking now that probably the best thing to do is, let's make it even. Let's make it even. I see a lot of evenness in these hard surface designs as well, right? So might as well just commit to making it even, right? And let's see, like this, and this is all through like gauging distance, of course, like just generally being like, what is the distance? Right, so this is this much distance. There's no foreshortening happening. Actually, no, fuck it. We'll have the perspective be a little bit more drastic. We'll have convergence be a bit more just drastic towards this vanishing point and this vanishing point, right? Maybe not this vanishing point, but definitely like these two vanishing points, like this one here, right? This one that's in this direction. This one's in that's in this direction. So let's entertain that. Why don't we? Right. Am I going to do it perfectly? No, because I said let's entertain it, but am I actually going to entertain it as well as I want to? Probably not. Most probably not, but it's the attempt. That's what I keep telling myself, right? Like at this point, it's just about trying, And I what I have noticed is these having these vanishing points be see, that was wrong. See, that was wrong. That was uneven, which is beautiful. Like, it's uneven. You can tell. This starts here. If you bring it down, the bottom of this starts at the top of this, right? So that's wrong. It's uneven. But what I've noticed is that, funny enough, unevenness actually does seem to create some sort of what's it called? Unevenness does seem to create some sort of visual interest for some reason. Like, we as humans seem to like unevenness, right? So, right, and then we'll just bring it down here. This is good, even if my design is fucked, right? Just the fact that I'm trying to attempt it, like, create some sort of evenness, create some sort of structure, right? And these, if you might be wondering, like, how is he coming up with these decisions, right? Like, why is he making it cut out there? Why is he putting like some random bullshit in the middle? All because I've just seen this. I've just seen this because I have a fucking Pinterest board. I keep typing in hard surface, and then I keep having hard surface things recommended to me, right? And a lot of them is artist related hard surface drawings. A lot of them is just like mechanical things in general. And I just do my best, not often, or not even that impressively, but I just try to pay attention to them. Right, I just try to be like, what is a quote-unquote design motif, right? What is a pattern that I keep noticing? And after fucking a year of this, I've been able to get to this point. And by the way, this is like basically passive. It's like a little bit intentional, but just these observations are just things I'm just sort of passively letting myself be exposed to, such that when I make these decisions, there's a subconscious part of me that may be a lot more maybe tapping in or being able to access this. This is me, obviously. This is conjecture. I can't say for certain. I can't say for certain that that's what's happening. But the point is, I think, me exposing myself to these things is helping, right, to some degree. No, I put that line down wrong too, but it makes it look a lot more mechanical, which I am grad for. What the fuck? I cannot speak. I'm Asian accent like a somebody, right? Grad for? No, glad for, right? And I'm glad for that. It's cool. Like, it's just trying at the end of the day, right? What are we doing? We're just fucking up, finding out how we're fucking up, and then continuing to fuck up, right? That's basically the gist of my entire learning journey. But this is looking pretty cool. This is, again, I think my shapes are getting a lot more intentional, and me verbalizing it, narrating it, I believe is helping quite a bit. But anyways, let me rest my brain, and then I encourage you to do the same, and then we shall continue from there. Yeah, I'm so glad I started drawing, bro. Fucking the entire day just to be here and be like, wow, this isn't that bad. That's always how it goes, right? And if it doesn't, that's just because our expectations are misaligned. So if you're like, I'm drawing and I don't feel good, well, how are you defining good? Are you defining good as not experiencing discomfort? Then that's just the wrong definition of good, because good is experiencing discomfort and embracing it, trying to get better, right? I'm extremely uncomfortable this entire session. Am I as uncomfortable as I would have been prior to, because I'm on my little break or whatever the fuck, right? Like, am I as uncomfortable as I would be if I was doing that intensive spatial reasoning shit that I always do? No, but that's the point, is like, I'm literally taking a break from that, right? But just because I'm taking a break doesn't mean I cannot be and should not be in discomfort, right? That I shouldn't be constantly trying to get better and to push my process. And that's all I can encourage for every single one of you, is like, please do your best to lean into your process of discomfort, to lean into your process of understanding, right? Because that is literally the only way that you will actually get better. There's no other way that you're going to get better apart from leaning into your discomfort and leaning into trying to get better, right? I'm sorry, like, the reality is, you can learn how to be good. You can learn discomfort. You can learn how to enjoy learning, right? Which is effort. Lean into the effort. Discomfort, perhaps not the best word to use. I don't like using words that people immediately be like, makes me so, like, fucking, people will hear the word friction and be like, oh God, oh, because let's be honest, people have forgotten how to learn, myself included, right? This entire art journey, what it's taught me is how to learn. That's basically the main thing that I have learned from this, is the fact that learning is friction, right? Learning is discomfort, right? Learning is constant effort, just constant effort. That is learning, and you, every single one of us are capable of it. Without a fucking doubt, every single one of us are capable of it, right? It's actually impossible to not be capable of it, because that just means you're not human, right? Like, that means you are not the individual who has a human brain. And all of this sounds very woo-woo because I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is you're all capable of learning. What I'm saying is, like, if you're born a human, you're capable of learning, right? If you were born in general and you can understand what I'm saying, right, you can learn. Without a fucking doubt, you can learn, right? So don't shy away. Don't embrace the effort, right? Embrace the effort. Like, look at this. I'm making so many fucking mistakes. This is diverging. This is diverging, right? I made a lot of diverging mistakes here, but this design is actually starting to look relatively hard surface-esque, right? You might now, like, and again, like, these are just because I did one multiple rounding, another multiple rounding. This is an angular multiple rounding. This is a curved multiple rounding. This skill took me minimum 50 plus hours to learn, all right? To get to this point, not just to get to this point, but this individual skill of being like, okay, so I have a plane out here, and I have a plane projecting over here, like it's, like, or it's down here, right? It's like, oh, okay, this is the plane. It's like, okay, that means just like this, and that means just like this, and then like this, and it curves over here, right? Because this is actually a plane that's connecting to this, right? Oh, and like, wow, look at that, he's doing it so easily, except it took me fucking 50 hours to be able to even see this. I'm not even thinking, I'm literally in no thinking mode right now when I'm doing this, yet it took me minimum 50 hours of conscious thinking to be like, oh shit, bro, how does this all connect, bro? Like, I can't see, oh my goodness, man, like, it's all effort. And now I'm just like, wee, ta-da, look at that. Look at that, wee, look, he's connecting the thing, right? Well, obviously you can see with like actually zero thinking and cognitive effort and physical effort put towards the motor skills, like obviously it's still shit. But the point I'm trying to make is the fact that I didn't get here by just like that. It took hundreds of hours of effort, and hundreds of hours of effort is something every single human on this planet, again, is capable of. There you go, that one was really... In my language, tamil, it's called mukkardu, which means to how do you even fucking how do you even translate that? It's like to strain, I guess. Yeah, to strain. I'm straining to get that burp out. But it's I use it in the context of taking a shit, just to be like gross. Right? Be like, oh yes, I'm really straining for that poop. If you're Tamil, you'll get it. If you're not, you'll just be like, sure, cool. Thanks for the lore, bro. Nobody cares about you Tamils. The era of Dravidians is bygone. Yeah, it's very sad, very sad. Dravidian is such a sick fucking name, though. Bro, Dravidian is such a cool way to describe my people, right? Honestly, so badass. But that's that their pride, cultural pride, right? So now that I finished this, right, I'm gonna add tiny little accents, and this is part of graphic design principles, right? Where it's just like, and that graphic design is obviously a big part of design. And what is that really? It's like the Gestalt principles, or how many did I do here? 6 Gestalt principles, right? So it's like fucking repetition, similarity, consistency, a bunch of other gay shit that nobody really cares about. But Gestalt himself was quite the man. I believe he had the mustache of all mustaches, right? But what does this all mean, right? 1, you should grow a mustache, but 2, you'll see that there's a lot of mistakes with my multiple rounding. Like, this one's going inward to the left, but this one's aligned with it basically in perspective. So I made a lot of mistakes, trust me. Right, and you probably can see it too, right? I made a lot of mistakes, and you might be wondering, well, 33 minutes for this. Vagu, my friend, why are you so shut? And the answer is, I'm just trying to get good at it. Just doing my best. Just doing my best. Okay, and again, I'm trying to think about like what sort of design principles I can use, right? Because maybe I guess I could give this outlining, and this is great because again, it really forces me to have clean line work, as you can see with this brush pen. Look, that was a fuck up because this line is way too close to this bolt that I made here, right? But it really forces me to have clean lines. Now the big question for me now is, what the fuck happens at the end here, right? Like, what are you doing? What is happening here as well, right? Like, what kind of silhouette are we trying to make? What is this shape at the end of the day? The answer is I don't know. The answer is I'm literally just trying to connect things that are shapes that are manipulated with other things that are shapes and that are manipulated, and doing it in an aesthetic fashion. This is what I'm defining as fun with forms, right? And because currently I'm really enamored by hard surface design, this is what I'm leaning into, right? But can I say with absolute certainty that I know what I'm drawing? No, there's no purpose to this drawing. I'm not trying to create anything specific. I'm not trying to create anything specific and functional either. or like that's something specific that already has a function, right? Like that is not what I'm doing right now. This is purely just learning and training myself to create complicated shapes that have maybe some sort of function, but it's purely just ideated and just how can I say this? It's ideated, it's ideated and brought forth through curiosity and yeah, like just experimentation, right? And trial and error, trial and error. That's really, I think that's the best way I can define this, right? So now the question is, what is a pleasing ratio that will make this not look like shit? Because this is, I think, a pretty awkward angle. I'm not gonna lie, like this diagonal and then this is the straight that's going in perspective. But you can see I actually fucked up the straight because this is incorrect. You see, this is my angle, my box, and this is what I've drawn here, right? So that is like a 3mm deviance, which is notable, and it should be notable to you. And if it isn't, wonderful. That means your eye has the ability to improve, right? So what this means is now this is no longer, this is actually a diagonal on the front plane. Like if this is the front plane, right? This is the slight diagonal I've made, right? And that means this slight diagonal, it might be a slight diagonal that's actually from the center, or maybe it's a slight diagonal that's actually the center of the center, right? Like this one, like this is the center, right? And then this is the center of the center, and then this is the center of the center. Sorry, no, this is the fucking plane, this is the center, this is the center of the center, and this is the diagonal I made, like this little one right here. So now that's something to consider. What that means is now that's clearly being projected, right, on the other side. So this side is also slightly diagonalized, right? That's not a word, but it is now, right? And now it's like I just have to think, well, how is it connecting? Well, how it's connecting could be that it's coming down over yonder donder, right? Over yonder donder, and it's like, there you go, you know? And this way we maintain a little bit of perspective, but we don't. But see, I fucked this up too, because this is now diagonal on the top plane. This going this way, this going this way. So all beautiful mistakes that I've been making, right? So if this comes down, well, first of all, we have to finish this connection because we don't want it to seem like it's turning at the bottom. These lines are horrible because you can see I didn't make it equally thick, right? All mistakes. These are all beautiful, beautiful mistakes, right? And now I just have to think, well, how can I make this seem coherent, right? It's a great movie, Coherence. You should watch it. I watched it with my sister. Actually really good. But the answer is fuck around and find out, right? And again, like I'm trying to keep the overall design like the design language I've been maintaining, right? This entire time, but still trying to figure it out, right? And there's a clear lack of cylinders in this. So what I need to do and what I want to do is make things more difficult for myself by having perhaps a cylinder here and perhaps a cylinder here, right? And that's gonna be very fun. That's gonna be very, very fun because that means I have to think. And that's the best part, is like I have to think. I cannot just do this as per, you know, la 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 la, like just not, because the whole point is I'm trying to think, right? So let's see, how can I make this like an actual proper, okay, so the silhouette here could be something very interesting. Do I want something condensed? Again, I'm trying to think out loud so I can give you an idea of exactly everything I think of, right? Well, if I want something condensed, maybe I can make this a lot higher, right? Maybe. And this is obviously going to force me to be good with my proportions because now I have very limited space up here, right? So if I want something condensed, I have to because I'm thinking, like, what I'm trying to think is like, okay, if I have something condensed here, like a giant sphere, but that's like much shorter in width, or a decent amount shorter in width compared to this main body, right? Then it's like, okay, maybe we should make this a lot larger up. Maybe adding that will make it look more functional, right? I don't know if that's true, but I'm just thinking out loud. It's like, will adding that make it look a lot more functional, right? Now that I've got this diagonal, I have to have another subtle diagonal right around here, right? Which basically will make this perspective make a little bit more sense, right? Hopefully. Who knows? Let's see, something like that, right? And I'm not drawing anything here yet because I'm thinking how something cylindrical could be embedded into that shape, but I'm struggling. I am struggling quite a bit, right, to see like, okay, what other things could be added here. But this is the fun part, which is really trying to think, and I'm trying to see like what cylinder could I have here, right? Like what cylinder, maybe something like this, right? So if I bring this up a little bit closer, and I don't know if this is going to create a good design, by the way. I don't know if this is going to create a good ratio. I can say with zero confidence that I don't know how this is going to work out. And that's the beauty of it, is like I can say that with zero confidence and still try anyways, right? Like I can still try because there's no harm in trying. And actually the beauty is literally just in the trying, right? Because there's no success. Success is just some sort of byproduct after thousands of tries and 10,000 tries that didn't work. 1,000 successful tries, which is just tries where you're like, I think that is the correct try based on these other really, really, really proficient final tries that people have done over hundreds of years, i.e. the masters, i.e. the people we look up to, right? We look up to. I don't know why I said like that either, right? But right now, this shape could go horribly wrong, and I have a feeling it most likely will. It most likely will, right? But this is the fun part. Like this is the part where I actually get to be like, all right, Vagu, how will we do? Right? Because this is where men are made. Not Minute Maid. Men are made. Minute Maid is a good brand. I used to be quite obsessed with it as a child, but men are made here, right? Let's see. Again, like I'm trying to think like, oh, what can I do to maybe have this be connected, right? Like what kind of manipulations can I be having here? And I don't know if this really makes any sense, right? But I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to think out loud here, right? I don't really know what I'm doing. Like if this connection actually has anything happening. I'm really trying to zoom out. Don't get me wrong. I am trying to zoom out quite a bit. Right, but I'm also trying to quote-unquote flow and ideate and all that shit. Hey, look at me, I'm flowing, oh my god, oh, so much flow, right? Who fucking knows? But, and this is clearly off-center. I also have trouble with making things off-center. So again, good opportunity for line work, right? And let's see, like this is obviously not following the perspective correctly, but now it is, and then we can bring this down here, right? This needs to follow the perspective as well. Okay, it kind of looks complicated. Doesn't look anything good, but I'm gonna rest my brain, and then I'm going to, the biggest problem to solve right now is obviously this, and this is probably gonna be my entire session. This one shape, right? Which is, it's fun, like this is great, like it's just, I'm just learning, so it's all cope at the end of the day. I'm not learning anything. I'm dying inside. No, this is great. This is actually, I'm just trying to think out loud as to how I can solve this problem, but we'll have to see. Like maybe we're definitely gonna have to slow down a little bit. I don't want to be hastily just making marks, because there is a balance. For me personally, there's a balance between speed and thought, right? And what I thought is I need to have less speed and more thought. So it works out at the end of the day. And anyways, please rest your brain. Alright, so before I continue, I think I want to draw a giant shape here. I know, like, I'm completely just changing the plan, but I'm also trying to, I also want to see, like, what does this look like on the other end? So like this, and then like this, and then what's happening here? Because these are the cutouts, right? So technically, let's see, let's do a little bit of foreshortening, right? Same thing here. Now, I don't know what perspective should this be in, right? That's the real question for me right now. Is like, what perspective should this be in? And what I mean by that is like, what perspective should these lines be following? Because I guess we can have it follow the middle perspective, right? Like the actual perspective of this, so see, that's misaligned, that line was incorrect, of the box that I'm envisioning, right? And this is obviously really testing my line quality, as you can see. As in, it's fucking shite. But while I'm doing this, I'm really trying to zoom out, by the way. I'm really trying to zoom out and see the entire box, because that always, like, it always benefits to see the box, right? Like, there's literally zero, there's no world where not seeing the box will not help you, right? Like, it's just, it's always about seeing perspective, you know? But that's just what I'm trying to do right now while I create these lines, and obviously I'm trying to focus a lot on the line quality itself, and it's extremely difficult, of course, with a brush pen, but that's the fun part. That is the fun part. So I actually made this perspective a little bit off, so I need to make these what needs to be fixed here. They need to be going like this way, right? So this is okay. Oh shit, let's see. I don't want to fuck it up and like connect something that isn't supposed to be connected. That's, I mean, if I do fuck it up, that's fine. Ideally, I don't want to fuck it up. Okay, see that? There you go. It's going that way now. And let's see. This is connecting out this way. Fuck it. We'll just close it. Let's just close it. Did I close it incorrectly? I think I did close it incorrectly. Fuck, I closed it incorrectly. But the one thing I said, I told myself I wouldn't do, bro. Maybe I'll just pretend like it wasn't closed incorrectly and just do that. And then these are the ones that are closing. Yes, totally not a mistake, right? When in doubt, just add a fucking bolt and everything's okay. Whee! I mean, this does look more fancy now. TBH, famo. No, but what the fuck does it look like on the other side? Now this is the part where I really have to use my brain, right? What a shock. You actually have to think when it comes to drawing, right? Oh my goodness, who came up with this foreign concept, right? And okay, I think that makes sense, but you still have to think about this. Oh, I shouldn't have closed these off. Maybe I should have. Okay, see that's just incorrect. Like I did not calculate that well. That's because I made this I didn't make this angle jut out enough. But again, you live, you learn, you laugh, you love, you cry, whatever the fuck else there is to it, right? And let's there you go. There you go. That is okay. It is not good, but it is okay, right? And I want to have a giant cylinder here, just for shits, just because I want to. But how do we connect that? Right? How the fuck do we connect this? Well, first let's actually try to center it, right? Well, actually no, I think I can do this. Let's do this. And this might be wrong. This likely is wrong, actually, now that I think about it. Oh yeah, it's in the wrong perspective. See, I wasn't zooming out. And I wasn't thinking, right? So is there a way to fix this? Let's see, maybe I could do this and then have this be like a center thing. Maybe. I don't think that really worked, but let's see. Lots of mistakes, lots of beautiful mistakes. And this is another thing, right? It's like as the shapes get more complicated, it's so much easier to zone in and just to not think. But this is where we must think, right? This is where I must think and really be like, no, there's an entire perspective, that's this larger grand perspective that I have to be aware of to make everything make sense, right? Like that is something I have to be aware of. I don't know why my voice suddenly went like this, but that is something I have to be aware of, right? So it is completely fine. Actually, this kind of worked out in the end. Let's see, same thing here. I don't know if that really makes sense, but I'm just adding like a little manipulation. Being like, look, Daddy, I'm not useless after all. Come on. There you go. Didn't really work out in the beginning, but now it's like, oh, look, there's all these complicated parts moving, right? Look, this is also three-dimensional. Who would have thought? Whee! And it has its own manipulations. Whoa-ho-ho! Whoa-ho-ho-ho-ho! Right? And maybe this can be, I don't know, maybe we can connect these somehow, like this. This is the power of knowing form, is you can actually just make shit up. And I was like, oh wow, look, it all looks like it was, actually it doesn't, for those of you watching, you all know there's no fucking plan here. But for those of you who just look at it, they'll be like, wow, wow, wow. Right, and then now we multiple round, right, and my lines are suffering, which is beautiful. Like, this is when I literally force myself to just feel good, because my lines are suffering, right? One fell swoop of this line, suffering, not good, just really not good. And now I'm trying to think, like, what kind of internal line I want, right? Do I want something like, there you go, I want multiple rounding, but on the other side, right? And again, feels fucking, and while I'm doing this, I've really lost the overall entire perspective. Like, I've completely lost it. But now I take a step back and I'm like, oh shit, there's an entire thing that I have to be aware of, right? So, and this is not where I expected this entire shape to go at all, but we'll just call it a day with this, right? And there you go. We can even be like, oh look, it was all planned. Because look, it's attached or some shit. I don't fucking know, bro. I don't fucking know. But either way, I'm going to finish this like so. Other side. Again, these are just like little, I guess, accents, I could call them, right? Basically, you're just indicating the form again. You're literally just drawing the entire cylinder again, right? So that's all it is to it. Same thing here, right? And this is basically something that looks like a connection, but none of these look like strong connections. So, and that's because like this needs to look like a stronger, because this doesn't look, in my opinion, something about the thickness of this thing doesn't look like it's as sturdy as it could be, right? So I was like, how do we make it look sturdier? What can I do here? What shapes can I involve to make this, something jut out, in, and then in here? Like, what can be done to make this look sturdier, right? And this is why I think people who do hard surface are fucking geniuses, right? Because if you can problem solve hard surface with all its technical complexities, I think you're the GOAT. Personally, I just think you're fucking amazing, right? Like, you may not be, right? You may not be amazing in the GOAT or whatever, but for me, you basically are, right? Because like, I think that's just amazing how they can solve these problems through, I will never ever disparage the hard work they put in, thousands of repetitions, like thousands of trials and errors, right? So like, I'm not saying that they just do it because they were born that way. I'm saying I find it so impressive they went through all the effort to solve it, right? They went through all the trial and error to solve it, right? Like, that is what I find impressive. Like, that actually is what I did here was a huge fuck up. Look at that, bro. That, now that I finished doing it, I'm just like, okay, that didn't work. That just doesn't look good, right? It just doesn't look good. And that's fine. Like, that's something I'm aware of now, right? So we might actually have to do something like this, where this technically initially was going outward, but now we'll have to be like, no, actually, turns out, it was a facade. It was actually something that was already going in the perspective, right? And then, how do I make this look interesting? Because now my brain's dead. It's been about 50 minutes, over 50 minutes, and I don't know how I can continue to add more shapes to this, right? Like, I actually don't, no, not even more shapes. I just don't know how to use the shapes that I have. I just don't know what shapes to use. That's the best way I can say it, right? I actually have no idea which shapes to use, but maybe we'll just have to make it attached to the cylinder, like so. Right, and that already looks like ass because I didn't do the right contour manipulation or like form wrapping, right? That just looks bad. So there's a lot of things that's like already wrong, but I'm trying to think. There has to be something that I can do to make this look a little bit better. Just a little bit. Maybe something like this. Comes out on the other side as well. Something jutting out. Right, and we can have perhaps a multiple rounding and then a, let's see, I just don't know. I just don't know what I can do. And if it's like wrapping around the other side, multiple rounding, and then it comes up here, right? No idea. No idea what the shapes turn into. But that's the thing. You see, like, this went really well. This did not go very well, right? And that is literally just trial and error, right? That is just trial and error. And we can actually, like, even be like, oh, look, it's actually cut out in the corner here, right? Just for shits, right? This is not that it's gonna make any difference to what's already happened with this shape, which is nothing good. There you go. Maybe we'll just have a wraparound. I can't think of anything. I'm actually like, my brain's pretty tired now, right? So this is actually like the most basic of basic that I can think of, which is, oh yeah, let's just have a wraparound. And you can see, like, this is genuinely not good anymore, right? This is genuinely just looks like meh, because I couldn't think of anything, and I can't think of anything that will actually look good, right? So I am just defaulting to the most basic wraparounds with poor line quality. Let's not mention, or let's not forget that, right? With poor line quality. So it's kind of like the end of the road for me in that sense, right? And I'm glad I get to show everybody these, right? Because when I continue to get better, I want it to serve as a reminder that, like, hey, this is not how it was, and this is not how it always is, right? In the sense that, like, there's always just little improvements to be made. Now, looking at this, it's very, very clear to me that this shit is just extra stuff that's fucking with the silhouette. Like, this is a clear attachment, this is a clear attachment, this was a clear attachment. All of this, like, should have been supporting this attachment, but it doesn't. It branches out into its own thing, and that is subpar, right? There's possibly a way I could fix it, right, by turning it into a cylindrical shape, like so, right? And that makes it a little bit better because it makes it seem a lot more intentional, right? Like a little bit better, nothing impressive, but it makes it seem a lot more intentional. And that's just my belief. Like, I think like that at the very least doesn't make it look as bad, right? But there's just a lot lacking. But I've learned a lot. I've genuinely learned a lot. And the biggest thing is, like, yeah, like connections. This thing should have been a hinge. Like, this should have been a hinge. I didn't turn this into a hinge. Like, hinges connect, right? That's another reason why this looks fucking stupid, is because hinges connect and this is not a hinge, right? There you go, to show that this is concave yet again, right? And then to show that, oh look, but this is actually convex. We can actually really utilize depth in this instance, right? To be like, there you go, look, that already adds so much depth, right? And then if you want to add more depth, and I'm thinking, this is just me thinking out loud, like if I want to add more depth, but not reuse the same lines or the same designs, right? It can just be these little cutouts that are like, oh look, yeah, it's three-dimensional, 100%, look at that, it's three-dimensional, right? So, and I've seen this a lot too in the hard surface stuff that I like look online, my Pinterest and all that stuff. They just add little, I guess you could call these gratings. I don't know what they'd be called, right? But it's basically to indicate that, yeah, look, like this is definitely something that's another design to it. I don't fucking know, bro. It's mechanical. It's mechanical, right? I don't know what the inside of this is gonna look like, right? But again, we could just start with a simple cylinder. Then we could add, and this is actually very difficult to do, which is continue the cylinder, right? And you can see I'm fucking it up, but continue the cylinder, or continue the sphere, sorry. And you can see, like, there's a lot of asymmetry in what I've done. But continue the sphere and still make but do a bunch of subtractions or additions on top of that as well, right? And this is also very difficult, where you're connecting the form, right? You're projecting it outward. This is basically contour manipulation, right? And you have to be aware of like where things are being manipulated and how they're projecting outwards and all that stuff, right? That looks pretty cool. Let's see, like, I don't want to over design it, and then maybe just something small in the middle, right? There you go, just something like that, and then it'll just be dark in the middle. How about that? There you go. It'll be dark in the middle, and then maybe I can have little gratings here. There you go. Okay, that looks pretty cool. I think that looks interesting. I'm not too certain how well it translates, but it's really fun. I know like this thing is a bit fucked. I've seen some designers do shit like this to be like, oh look, like they're connected, and then this is like its own separate sheet of metal, right? So we could try that, but I don't know how well that really goes together. But again, like the biggest issue was clearly like this entire region, very undefined, like very, very undefined. I'm well aware of that. And that's because I explicitly said it while I was doing it. I was like, hey, I'm not thinking, I'm just fucking around, and my mind is just kind of tired, right? But overall, I'm learning a lot. I'm definitely learning a lot. But we still have this. So I'm going to rest my brain, and then we're going to try to not rush ourselves to finish this fast, but I'm going to try to, within 5 minutes, find a clear, solid shape that I can use for this top shape that perhaps will make the silhouette seem a lot more interesting, because right now it's very blocky, right? It's just like meep, meep, like it's all the same thickness. I could have made this a lot thinner, and I should have made this a lot thinner, but again, because I couldn't zoom out on the box while I was doing this, right? And like perspective is off too, as you can see, like perspective is pretty off here. Like, or I didn't like extend this properly out, where like this is a bit out, this is more out, but this is like barely out. So like I made a lot of dumb mistakes. TBH, like this actually should be way more out, like so, right? Like that already makes more of a difference. But then now I have to be like, oh, okay, I have to fucking add this line for evenness sake, right? So there's a lot of dumb shit I've done. Like this is so unnecessarily, like just no intention here. So lots of issues, right? And see, what I wanted is like, what it should have been is like detail, white space, detail, like here, white space, right? I think this is okay, but this, everything here, definitely no intention. But now I'm learning, I'm learning, like, yeah, I was like, okay, this is good, white space, this, I did good here, right? Like the detail at least, but like I didn't connect it, have a good hinge to it, so that was a mistake. I love it. All these things that is forcing me to think ahead, because that's what I'm seeing as play. Like I'm playing around, this is really fun. Like this was a good, I guess, play session, right? But it's nice, it's really fucking good. I'm learning a lot in terms of my process, right? So anyways, let me rest my brain. I encourage you to do the same. Alright, cool. I already have an idea what I'm gonna do next session, because I'm gonna rest after this practice session, and then I'll be back and I'm gonna do another one. Yeah, you know, might as well just draw one big shape that has its own complexities and simplicities, right? That I think that's a good idea, a good way to force me to like actually think. But here's like, how does this turn into a hinge that makes sense? And I'm thinking something like, literally actually something like this could work, where I do something like this. I'm essentially trying to think, there you go. Literally, I actually stopped it at the perfect point, to be honest. There you go. Literally something like this. And it's, there you go. This is the hinge. Now it's like, you might be wondering, how the fuck is that a hinge? Well, because we can have it go through, right? And this actually, I didn't draw this ellipse correctly, but I'm really trying to zoom out and think about everything now, right? But let's see. And then we could actually have maybe a larger shape, like, and I'm trying to think really fucking hard right now, bro. I'm really trying to see what this could be, bars, but I'm really trying to figure out what this could be. Well, first let's extend this cylinder a bit outward. I'm trying to like see, okay, how long do I even want this to be because of my silhouette? But if this is already like meh, meh, in terms of the shape, then might as well at least have this expand a bit outward, like so. And again, there I was trying to think about the overall perspective, but I was struggling a lot, which is why you'll see that this cylinder in general is not good, right? It's just not a good ellipse, actually, this partial ellipse. And by the way, drawing partial ellipse is difficult. There's just in case you wanted some validation, that is difficult. 100% drawing a fucking partial ellipse is extremely difficult, right? Like, you can see how much I'm struggling with it. Therefore, it has to be difficult. Because if I'm struggling, then it has to be hard. Right? But let's see. And then we can do something like this. Okay, let's see. I want it to... I'm trying to think. Something like this. Get the center out. I'm really trying to think right now of a hinge system that would look okay. And follow what the fuck I'm trying to do here, for lack of a better word. Whew, this was very difficult. This was good. This is exactly the discomfort that I wanted to be in. It's exactly the discomfort that I wanted to be in. Okay, I'm just trying to think right now, because I have a good idea here. Fuck, I dropped my water bottle. I have a good idea here. It's just maybe I don't have much time, but some things just need to be fleshed out, right? So we will again draw another ellipse, and again, this is like pretty meh in terms of perspective. Like, I'm trying to think about the perspective right now, but just trying to think about a functional design is already doing quite a bit to my brain, right? And let's see, something like this, connected. This is probably not what I wanted to do, like what I was thinking of, like most definitely not what I was thinking of, but probably should have added another sheath here. Yeah, that would have been better. Well, I know it's kind of too late, but whatever, I'm doing it now. Right, and then let's see. I'm trying to think, what can I have here? I'm trying to think about the overall box, and we could just do something like this. Oh, see, that line was way too thick. There you go. And then maybe this is what I want? Maybe. Right? Something connected like so. And then we'll bring it back. Bring it back. What the fuck? Bring it back up. Right? Same thing here. And I'm just trying to like make random connections. TBH fam. See, that should have been a bit lower. And let's see. Oh, my brain is like dying. This is amazing. My brain's actually dying right now. And because like trying to figure this out, I'm trying to reverse engineer, right? There you go. Something like this. This is like random mechanical shit I'm trying to add to this so that it looks a little bit more proper. But overall, maybe it doesn't look that good. I mean, the lines are suffering, so it can't look that good, right? And let's see. See, I shouldn't have connected that, but whatever, right? Let's add some dark here so it's clear that it's in the back, maybe. There you go. There you go. Maybe this should be connected. This doesn't look that good anymore. But I like the idea. I'm definitely like, and the thing is, it is definitely grinding my brain in terms of like how I could approach this for any additional designs, right? Like, it's definitely a good idea for sure, like in terms of like having like some random connection or whatever. But I'm just trying to think, like, what the fuck how could this end here? Or like how will this shape end without, maybe it'll just be something like this. Like maybe it'll just be like, when I say something like this, it's like maybe it'll be a diagonal. What I'm thinking is like maybe it'll be a diagonal cutting with another diagonal, cutting with another diagonal, right? Like it's not, I'm not just thinking la 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 la, right? There's like specific manipulations that are being thought of. It's just I'm unable to verbalize it to the extent that unfortunately that you would probably like me to, so I do apologize, Jesus Christ. I do apologize for that. Right, so, and let's just make this noise and tick as well. And this can actually be perhaps something robust. If I, let's see, make it, there you go. Be multiple rounder as well. Make it rounded is what I'm trying to say. Make it rounded. See, that wasn't that good. And same thing here, just make it rounded. And again, like you can see my lines are really, really suffering. And you can see that was like a horrible fucking projection of the multiple rounding. But cool, I mean, idea was there. idea was there, right? And just to make sure the idea continues to be there, we can just... And I'm trying to zoom out while I do this, by the way, because I find it important to be able to see the entire picture. At least I'm trying to make myself be able to see the entire picture. Right. And zoom out while I do so. Right. And I like this. I like the fact that it seems like, oh yeah, this now looks like it's something that's being turned, I guess. Right. Does it look well? No. Because you can see I really fucked up a lot of these cylinders. And so inside cylinders, there's a lot of things that are wrong here. Like fucking hundreds of mistakes have been made. Because my brain is tired now, which is good, right? It's a good thing that my brain is tired. Oh, see, like we shouldn't have drawn this line. This line was a mistake because it shows that like it's going through, and this makes it look a lot more flimsy. So how can I, before I end this session, how can we fix this? By doing this, perhaps? No. How can I fix this? Maybe I can't fix it. Right? Maybe I can't fix it. Maybe this will just have to look like it's something that's hanging on it. So now this looks a lot thinner than it should. Right? If that's the case, then we should at least... Fuck, there's a lot of things that look pretty off about this now. But at the very least, maybe I can do something like this. Right? There you go. That way it doesn't look as thin. So it's like, hey, look, no, like, yeah, this may be hanging, but let's see, we can do this. There you go. See? So now it's like, oh yeah, it's hanging, but these are thick. Maybe that makes sense. I don't fucking know. I don't know, actually. Maybe just if I round it a little. Nah, that doesn't make any sense. Now shit's just floating. It's okay, just leave it, right? Like I've already messed it up enough. Just these are little gratings, right? Yeah, there's always these little gratings. But anyways, let's just finish this, right? And what else? What's happening here? Maybe this can be like a different type of attachment. There you go. Perspective's already off. And we'll just do something like this. Right, like it's attached, but it's also, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have it attached like this. These are just random shapes I'm drawing. There's no meaning here, but at least it makes it look like it has meaning. Right? And you can see the difference between like when I'm intentional and versus when I'm just fucking around, right? Like hopefully you can see, and if you can't, that's fine. That just means that I'm skilled enough that it fools you into thinking that I know what the fuck I'm doing. But which is a good feeling, right? Always want to make idiots feel like idiots, but why don't we just finish? Why don't we just be lazy and do what we did last time, right? There you go. Ta-da! That was my last session's design. But this is all sorts of pretty meh. Yeah, whatever. We'll just call it there. But it's good. I mean, like, this was a good practice session for sure, right? I learned a lot. I just, near the end of it, you can see my brain's just tired. It's like, what the fuck is it even doing? None of this even makes sense. I mean, this entire shape is pretty mid, but it's been an hour and 15 minutes, so fuck. Anyways, good session. I hope you really tried. I hope you fucked around with the shapes just like I did, right? And really just try to figure out your process, try to understand it, really try to think about how things connect or are manipulated or whatever the fuck, whatever your level is. Hope you tried to push it, because I tried to push my level and I was extremely uncomfortable and it was great, right? So clearly it doesn't matter how I feel, caffeine, no caffeine, I can still attempt to try, which is all that matters, right? Attempt to try. So with that being said, I hope you put a lot of effort in, and as always, fuck you for watching, keep growing, and please,